He said it's a deal breaker if I go on that trip, so I went anyway and posted a bikini pic with my guy Bestie. I mean, what was I supposed to do? Let him dictate who I can hang out with and where I can go. I'm Paisley, 29, and I'm still trying to process how my entire life imploded over one stupid beach weekend. Zachary and I had been married for 4 years. Things were mostly good. We had our starter home that we were slowly fixing up, decent jobs, and a pretty normal life. He works in project management where he has to travel sometimes, and I have an office job that pays the bills. We weren't rich or anything, but we were comfortable. I thought we were solid, until Austin became this massive issue out of nowhere. Austin and I have been friends since sophomore year of college. We actually dated briefly before I met Zachary, but it wasn't serious, just a few weeks of hanging out that fizzled out naturally. I never felt the need to tell Zachary about that part. It wasn't relevant. And, honestly, it would have just created drama for no reason. Austin's always been my go-to person when I need to vent or just hang out without overthinking everything. Our friend group has this tradition of going to Myrtle Beach every summer. It started in college, and somehow we've managed to keep it going despite everyone getting older, getting married, and some having kids. It's the one thing I look forward to every year. 3 days of no responsibilities, just relaxation and fun with the people who've known me forever. This year Zachary suddenly had a problem with it. He'd been making these little comments about how close Austin and I were for months. Like when Austin would text me late, Zachary would do this dramatic sigh and ask, "What does Austin want now?" Or he'd make these little digs about how I light up when Austin calls. I'd roll my eyes and move on because it seemed so childish. But then it escalated. 2 weeks before the trip, we were having dinner when Zachary said, "I don't think you should go to Myrtle Beach this year." Just like that, out of nowhere. I laughed because I thought he was joking. When I realized he was serious, I was floored. He said he didn't like the energy between me and Austin, whatever that means. He actually said it was inappropriate. I've never cheated on Zachary, not once in 4 years. The accusation made my blood boil. The argument got heated. I reminded him that these are my oldest friends, people I've known way longer than him. He countered by pulling up my texts with Austin. He'd gone through my phone while I was showering. There was nothing even bad in them, just some inside jokes and plans for the trip. But Zachary fixated on this one message where Austin said he couldn't wait to see me in my new swimsuit. It was a completely innocent comment about a swimsuit I'd shown our whole group chat, but Zachary acted like it was some secret code. That's when he dropped the ultimatum. "If you go on this trip with him, it's a deal breaker for me." Those exact words, a deal breaker. 4 years of marriage, and he was ready to throw it all away because I wanted 3 days at the beach with friends I've had forever. I'd be lying if I said I didn't consider staying home, for about 5 minutes. But the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Who was he to test me like this? To make me choose? I've always been independent. It's one of the things he said he loved about me when we first met. Now suddenly it's a problem? So I made my decision. I wasn't going to let him control me. I packed my bags, told him I was going, and that we could talk about his trust issues when I got back. He barely said goodbye when I left. Just sat there on the couch, staring at his phone, acting like I wasn't even there. It hurt, but I was too stubborn to show it. I figured he'd cool off while I was gone and realize how ridiculous he was being. I had no idea that a weekend trip would be the match that would burn my entire life to the ground. And the worst part? Deep down, some tiny voice was whispering that maybe, just maybe, I knew exactly what I was doing when I pressed post on that photo. But I wasn't ready to hear that voice yet. The drive to Myrtle Beach should have been relaxing, but I couldn't stop checking my phone. Nothing from Zachary. Not a text, not a call, nothing. I told myself I was glad. No drama to deal with, but honestly, it stung. 4 years together, and he couldn't even send a drive safe message? Whatever. I cranked up my playlist and pushed him out of my mind. When I pulled up to the beach house, Austin was already there on the porch, beer in hand. He gave me this big hug and whispered, "Proud of you for coming." Something about the way he said it made my stomach flutter. He helped carry my bags in while catching me up on who had arrived and the plans for the weekend. The house was exactly like always. Slightly run down, but perfect. 6 bedrooms, oceanfront view, and a massive deck. Our friend Tiffany gave me a sideways look when I walked in. "So Zachary was cool with you coming?" she asked. I rolled my eyes and said he'd get over it. She didn't look convinced. That first night, we did our traditional bonfire on the beach. Someone brought up Zachary's absence, and I found myself getting defensive. "He doesn't own me," I said, maybe louder than necessary. "We're not joined at the hip." Austin nodded along, adding, "Paisley's always been independent. That's what makes her Paisley." I felt seen in a way Zachary hadn't made me feel in months. The drinks flowed, and with each one, I found myself sitting closer to Austin. Nothing inappropriate, just laughing at his jokes, letting my hand rest on his arm when he said something funny. Old habits. Around midnight, he suggested a quick swim. The others had already headed back to the house, but the water looked so inviting with the moonlight on it. So we went in, still in our clothes from dinner. The water was freezing but exhilarating. We splashed around like kids, and for those few minutes, I forgot all about my problems at home. Back at the house, I checked my phone again. Still nothing from Zachary. So I opened Facebook and posted a quote. "Sometimes the people who claim to love you the most are the ones who try to clip your wings." I added a beach sunset photo and watched the likes roll in. The next day was when things really went sideways. We spent the morning on the beach, and I wore my new bikini, the one Austin had commented on. It was more revealing than what I'd usually wear, but I felt bold. Everyone was taking photos, and Austin suggested one of just us. His arm went around my waist, pulling me close. His hand rested a bit lower than it should have. The camera clicked, and something shifted between us. Later, after too many margaritas at the beachside bar, Austin and I ended up alone on the deck. He mentioned that he'd always wondered what would have happened if we'd given our relationship a real shot back in college. I should have changed the subject. Instead, I admitted I'd wondered too. One thing led to another, and we ended up back in his room. We didn't have sex. I had that line drawn firmly in my mind. But what we did do was definitely crossing boundaries. I justified it to myself. It wasn't really cheating if we didn't go all the way. A stupid, convenient loophole I created on the spot. That night, feeling reckless and maybe wanting to hurt Zachary like he'd hurt me with his ultimatum, I posted the bikini photo of Austin and me. I captioned it, "Making memories with the people who truly matter. Beach vibes, best friends." I turned my phone off immediately after, not wanting to see Zachary's reaction. Part of me knew I'd crossed a line, but a bigger part felt vindicated. He wanted to control me? Well, here was my response. The drive home felt a million miles long. I'd turned my phone back on Sunday morning to a flood of notifications, comments on the photo, messages from mutual friends, but nothing from Zachary. The silence was worse than anger. Tiffany had pulled me aside before I left and said, "I hope that post was worth it." Her words hung in my head the whole drive. When I pulled into our driveway, I knew something was wrong. Zachary's car was there, but the house felt different. I walked in calling his name, but no answer. Then I saw it, his closet half empty, dresser drawers pulled open with just my stuff left behind. My heart pounded as I ran room to room. In the kitchen, I found his note. "Staying at Jake's. We need to talk, but not tonight." I called him immediately, but he sent me to voicemail. I texted, "Are you serious right now? You're moving out because of a photo?" Then I sat on our kitchen floor and cried until I couldn't breathe. He finally came over the next day. I'd barely slept, rehearsing all my arguments, but the man who walked in wasn't the Zachary I expected. He was calm. Cold. He sat at our kitchen table like a stranger. "So you're back," he said, voice flat. "How was your trip with Austin?" "Don't do that," I snapped. "Don't act like I committed some major crime. You're the one who gave me an ultimatum." He pulled out his phone and showed me my photo. "This isn't just a beach picture, Paisley. This is you deliberately trying to hurt me, to humiliate me." Then he scrolled to the comments, friends asking where he was, Austin responding with a winking emoji, people I barely knew weighing in. "You made our marriage problems public," he said. "You wanted everyone to see you defying me." "You went through my phone," I countered. "You tried to control who I could see and where I could go. I asked you not to go on one trip with a guy who clearly wants more than friendship." After finding messages that made me uncomfortable. That's it. He rubbed his eyes like he was tired. But this isn't even about Austin. Then what is it about? I demanded. It's about respect, Paisley. It's about you always needing to test how much I'll take. The innocent flirting with other guys when we're out. The way you shut me out of your friend group. How you're always the victim when we fight. He looked at me with such disappointment. I saw the beach photo, and I know what happened with Austin. My blood ran cold. Nothing happened, I lied automatically. Don't. He held up a hand. Katie saw you coming out of his room at 2 a.m. She texted me because she was worried. I felt cornered. We didn't have sex, I insisted. That's not cheating. Zachary just stared at me, his face a mask of disbelief. Do you actually believe that? That anything short of intercourse is acceptable with another man? It's not like I planned it, I said defensively. And maybe if you hadn't been so controlling, I wouldn't have. Stop. His voice was quiet but firm. No more making this my fault. I'm staying at Jake's for now. I need space to think. You're overreacting, I said, panic rising. This wasn't how this was supposed to go. I came back, didn't I? I'm here. Physically? Maybe. He stood up to leave. But you haven't been present in this marriage for a long time, Paisley, and neither have I. That's on both of us. When he walked out, I had this terrible feeling that I'd miscalculated everything. That what I thought was a game of chicken, who would back down first, was actually the end of something I wasn't ready to lose. After Zachary left, the fallout hit like a tsunami. I made the mistake of checking Facebook, where that stupid bikini picture had become a whole thing. Mutual friends were commenting with little supportive messages to Zachary. Even my cousin Amber, who I thought was firmly on Team Paisley, wrote "Sending you strength Z" with a heart emoji. Like I was the villain in this story. I called my mom in tears. I gave her my version. Zachary's controlling behavior, the ultimatum, how I just wanted a weekend with friends. She was sympathetic at first, promising to talk to him. He's always been so reasonable, she said. I'm sure this is just a misunderstanding. But 3 days later, after she'd spoken to Zachary, her tone completely changed. You did what with Austin? She demanded. Paisley Ann, I raised you better than that. She went on about marriage vows and respect. When I tried to explain my technical loophole about not actually having sex, she practically hung up on me. Even my own mother was judging me. Then came the awkward run-in with Austin's girlfriend, Megan. I hadn't seen her since the trip. She couldn't come because of work. I was at the grocery store when she approached my cart with ice in her eyes. Hey Paisley, she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. How was the beach? Austin told me you all had quite the weekend. My stomach dropped. It was fun, I managed. Same as always. She studied me. You know, Austin told me everything about your little after-hours activities. She leaned in closer. And just so you know, he laughed about it later, said you seemed to think it meant something, that it was just Paisley being Paisley. I felt like I'd been slapped. He's my friend, I said weakly. No, honey, he's my boyfriend who you've been inappropriate with, and you're a married woman who should know better. She pushed her cart past me. Or I guess we're a married woman? I hear Zachary's filing papers. Filing papers? My heart raced. She had to be lying to hurt me. But when I got home, I checked Zachary's browser history on our shared laptop. There it was, a consultation with a divorce attorney scheduled for the next day. The worst came when my friend Tiffany finally told me what everyone was saying behind my back. We met for coffee, and I could tell she was uncomfortable. Just spit it out, I said. She sighed. Look, what you did on the trip, it wasn't cool. And not just the Austin thing, the photo was deliberately hurtful. Zachary tried to control me, I insisted. Did he, though? She looked skeptical. Because from where everyone else stands, he set a boundary in your marriage that you bulldozed over. And then you humiliated him publicly. It was just a beach photo, I protested. With a guy you used to date, which, by the way, I can't believe you never told Zachary about, with his hand on your ass and a caption about people who truly matter. Right after your husband asked you not to go. It looked calculated, Paisley. I sat there, speechless for once. And then there's the Austin thing, she continued. Katie told everyone what she saw, and now Austin's telling guys at the bar it wasn't even the first time. He's lying, I said. blood running cold. That never happened before. Tiffany just gave me a look. Maybe. But here's the thing, people believe him. Because of how you've acted. All the flirty comments, the inside jokes, the way you prioritize him. He's my best friend, I said weakly. No, I'm your best friend, she said. And as your best friend, I need to tell you, you messed up. Big time. And I don't know if you can fix it. As I drove home, I realized something I'd been avoiding. People weren't just taking Zachary's side because they liked him better. They were taking his side because in this scenario, I was actually the one who'd done wrong. And that was a hard pill to swallow. After a week of silence, I decided I needed to fix this mess. I wasn't ready to admit I was completely wrong, because hello, the ultimatum was still controlling, but I could see I'd taken things too far. So I texted Zachary asking to meet for dinner. To my surprise, he agreed. I spent hours getting ready, choosing an outfit I knew he loved, the one I wore on our first anniversary. I made reservations at the Italian place where we had our rehearsal dinner. I was going to remind him of what we had, of our history. I practiced my apology in the mirror, not too submissive, but just sorry enough. When he walked in, my heart skipped. He looked good, but tired. He sat down without kissing me hello, and I knew this wouldn't be easy. I'm glad you wanted to talk, I started. I've missed you. He nodded but said nothing. I want to apologize, I continued, reaching for his hand. He let me take it, but his fingers remained limp in mine. Things got out of hand at the beach. The photo was thoughtless. And what happened with Austin? He asked directly. I faltered. That was a mistake. I'd been drinking, and I was upset about our fight. It didn't mean anything. So you admit it happened? His voice was steady, but I could see the hurt in his eyes. Yes, but it wasn't. We didn't actually. I stumbled over my words. It wasn't full-on cheating. He pulled his hand away. Paisley, if I did exactly what you did with a female friend, would you consider it cheating? The question caught me off guard. I wanted to say no to be consistent, but we both knew I'd be furious. I dodged instead. This isn't about hypotheticals. This is about us, our marriage. The marriage you were willing to risk over a beach trip? He asked. Or the one you humiliated publicly? You're the one who gave me an ultimatum. I shot back, my plan for calm reconciliation already derailing. You backed me into a corner. I asked you not to go on one trip because I was uncomfortable with your relationship with Austin. One trip. He sighed. And instead of considering why I might feel that way, you turned it into this huge power struggle. Because you were trying to control me. Was I? He looked genuinely confused. Or was I asking for respect, for my feelings to matter as much as Austin's? That hit a nerve, because deep down I knew there was some truth to it. I'd always prioritized Austin's feelings, his needs, his place in my life. I just want us to move forward, I said, softening my tone. I placed my hand on his thigh under the table, sliding it upward suggestively. I miss you. I miss us. He removed my hand firmly. Sex isn't gonna fix this, Paisley. It never has, even though you've tried to use it that way before. I felt exposed, like he could see through all my strategies. Then what do you want from me? Accountability, he said simply. Real understanding of why what you did was harmful, not just for the trip, but for the pattern of disrespect. I tried to hold back tears. I said I was sorry. For getting caught, he replied. Not for the actions themselves. The dinner went downhill from there. I alternated between defensive arguments and tearful pleas. At one point, out of desperation, I said, if you leave me over this, I don't know what I'll do to myself. It was a tactic I'd used before when backed into a corner, hinting at self-harm to make him back down. This time, he didn't take the bait. Don't do that, he said firmly. That's emotional manipulation, and we both know it. He placed money on the table for the bill. I've been talking to a therapist. She's helping me see patterns I've been enabling. So some stranger is telling you to divorce me? I asked bitterly. No, he said, standing up. She's helping me see that I deserve a relationship based on mutual respect. He paused. I filed the separation papers yesterday, Paisley. My lawyer will be in touch. I sat in that restaurant long after he left, wondering how it had come to this. How one weekend, one photo, one mistake could end 4 years of marriage. But deep down, I knew it wasn't just one weekend. It was 100 small choices where I'd put my wants above our marriage. 100 moments where I'd chosen Austin's friendship over Zachary's comfort. 100 times I'd tested boundaries just to prove I could.